Yo, what is going on YouTube? This is your boy Town, aka A-Job. I'm bringing you guys a brand new video today talking about some sun and moon theories, discussions, and leaks, of course. We're talking about the big Riddler here, the leaker, of course. I made a video about this maybe 2 weeks ago or so talking about the Riddler and everything in between, and it's really, really crazy. If you don't know about the Riddler story, I'll put the link in the description below, but basically this Riddler has been posting numerous times on the internet about Pokemon Sun and Moon and revealing information through riddles and hints prior to the announcements actually happening, and so many instances it's all come true, from them posting a picture of, you know, Zubat and Litleo prior to Solgaleo and Lunala even being revealed, and then them posting like a picture of like Pikachu with a cloth over its head for Mimikyu, and so many things. So many people, myself included, believe that the Riddler is 100% connected to some sort of internal source, and there's actually a most recent post from the Riddler here, so we're gonna kind of break that down, and it's a very, very good one, guys. It's a very, very good one, so I'm super duper hyped. Apologies for the camera, guys. It's early in the morning and the sun is kind of just shining right through the window, so I just have some weird lighting going on here, so just don't mind that. But either way, get excited, man. Hit that like button, and definitely don't be afraid to leave a comment below letting me know your thoughts. Subscribe if you're new for 2 Pokemon vids every single day. So anyway, let's jump right into things here, right? This is the kind of trademark image from the Riddler, which gets posted, you know, every time new leaks come out, and we know that there's supposed to be a toucan Pokemon. We know that from the shirt in the Alola region. There's some other riddles that haven't quite been solved, including, you know, what about the rest of the Tapus, or the, you know, Tapu Koko and the other forms potentially, or the other islands. You've got that monk staff. What does that mean? Things like that. But we're not going to really talk about this right now, because there was a huge post that was posted, I think it was today or yesterday, right here. So this big post right now, and a lot of this is, of course, speculation, right? I mean, but this was posted by the Riddler, it seems, and this is talking about all the different types in the Alola Dex, and basically how many of each type there are gonna be. So I was able to find a translated post of this on 4chan here, and here's where things get really interesting. So this basically, if this does come true, this basically reveals most of the Pokemon that are in the Alola Dex and how many evolutions they all have, and to me, that is super duper awesome information. So let's kind of go from the top here, right? And I did kind of some calculations, some summaries, which we'll talk about here at the end, but it looks like we got Rowlet, obviously 3 stages, Bonsweet, which we know is the little grass dude, is gonna theoretically get an evolution here. We know Fomantis and Lurantis have Pokemon, you know, 2 stages. Morlul is gonna get an evolution, so that's essentially 2 stages. Then there's 4 other grass-type Pokemon, it looks like, with question marks next to their name. And then they're also, the Riddler is also hinting at those new forms, 1 to 3 new forms of new Pokemon. So it's confirming that there's 13 Pokemon that are grass type in the Alola region, and then there's going to be a total between 14 and 16 total Pokemon factoring in those forms. So that's kind of like the equation that's being worked on here from the Riddler, basically. So fire type, Litten, Salandit getting an evolution, it looks like, Oricorio, obviously, of course, Turtonator getting either an evolution or a pre-evolution. Very interesting to note there. 3 other fire types we don't know, and then 1 to 3 forms there. Water, same thing, Poplio, 3 stages. Bruxish getting an evolution or a pre-evolution. Wishiwashi, of course, so just being a single stage, which I think we could have all assumed. And really cool, Pyukumuku, baby, getting an evolution, which I think is really awesome. I'm excited to see what Pyukumuku ends up being like in the games, having that really cool fist, being kind of awesome. It's probably going to have like low defenses, but incredible HP stats to take advantage of that ability, and I'm excited to see what it evolves into, because there's a lot of potential there from a competitive standpoint for that ability. I think it's called Inner Doubt to really be awesome. And then you got 5 other water Pokemon, and then you've got also some forms there, 1 to 3 forms. Poison type getting a little bit of the shaft here though, Salandit, and then it looks like only 2 more poison type Pokemon are going to be revealed for the Alola region, but 5 to 7 forms it looks like, or 0 to 5, I'm sorry, 0 to 5 new forms it looks like based on this equation here. Ice, kind of the same thing. We haven't seen any ice Pokemon, but we do know from the Riddler, or from the Chinese leaks rather, that there's supposed to be a ghost ice snowman, right? So we know that's one of those Pokemon that hasn't been revealed yet, but we do believe that there is going to be a ghost and ice snowman Pokemon that will hopefully be revealed soon, or at least once we play the games. So that's presumably the ice Pokemon there, and it looks like there's a couple forms, 4 to 6 forms. So we already know about Sandshrew, Sandslash, and then we know about Ninetales and Vulpix. So that's 4 of them, so there could be 2 more forms. Dark type, 0 to 6, it looks like, for new Pokemon. We haven't had any new Pokemon revealed, so we may not even get any new dark types apparently. And of course the Riddler not putting it straight, just kind of giving us some general ideas here. Normal types, Yungoos and Gumshoos, so we know about that. Picky Peck looks like it does stay normal throughout its entire stage. Kamala getting an evolution, which I think a lot of people assumed would happen. I definitely did. Drampa, either an evolution or a pre-evolution. I'm assuming a pre-evolution just based on its design. Looks very complete to me. Stuffle, we know about Stuffle and Beware. Oranguru, which I found very surprising. Oranguru actually getting an evolution or pre-evolution. Very cool there. Type Null is 1, and then you've got 2 other normal types, and then you've got roughly 2 to 4 forms, leading to 16 Pokemon, or 18 to 20 when you factor in the forms. Flying, it looks like Picky Peck does indeed stay flying in normal type. Rowlet does stay flying type. Oricorio, of course, 4 different Oricorios, so keep that in mind. When I do the calculations at the end, it's not gonna... Some Pokemon have multiple forms, like Oricorio is obviously 1 Pokemon, but having 4 different forms. Minior, very, very cool there to find out that Minior is gonna get an evolution, it looks like. And then 5 other flying types, so it looks like we have plenty of flying types still to be announced. Very, very cool stuff there. So about 17 flying types. Cutiefly, we've seen Cutiefly's evolution already leaked in a trailer, not officially, not leaked in a trailer, I'm sorry, revealed in a Japanese trailer for Pokemon, but not officially announced yet. They haven't announced Cutiefly's evolution, but we do know it exists. We've seen screenshots of it. It's not like a secret. And actually, I believe it's right up here. If I scroll up a little bit, you'll see the evolution. It's right there, this guy right here. So we've already seen Cutiefly's evolution, so not too surprising there. Mimikyu not getting an evolution. Comfey also not getting an evolution. Very interesting, but I'm not surprised. You think about like a Pokemon like Klefki, and Comfey has that Klefki vibe in my opinion. That's kind of how I've always looked at it. Morlul getting an evolution. Again, we saw that up top with the grass, so staying Grass Fairy. Tapu Koko, of course, Magearna, and then 5 more fairy types. So we're assuming the Tapus, right? So we're assuming 3 more Tapu Pokemon for the islands, and then potentially, you know, maybe 2 more different fairy types that we haven't seen yet. Here's where some of it gets really interesting, though. Some of the stuff I'm really excited about. Stuffle, of course, fighting type. Crabrawler getting either an evolution or a pre-evolution. That's one of those Pokemon I can't really tell which one it's gonna be. I want to say it's gonna get an evolution because I actually really like the fighting crab, man. I think that thing looks pretty cool. Passimian, just like Oranguru, potentially also getting an evolution or a pre-evolution. And some of these I don't even know whether they're gonna be an evolution or pre-evolution, because some Pokemon look like they're finished, but then others, they look like they could evolve. I don't know. And then potentially 3 more fighting types, bringing it to 9 total, 9 to 11 in there. Mudbray, Sandygast, we know about those. 4 more ground Pokemon, of course, and then 0 to 6 forms, so we'll definitely see how the Alolan forms work out with the ground type, and it looks like there's gonna be some more ground type Pokemon. I'm not surprised, especially since we know we're gonna be chilling on the beach quite a bit in the Alola region, get some more ground types rocking there. You've got Rock, so Rockruff, we know. Minior again coming through, getting that evolution, presumably. I can't imagine it gets a pre-evolution, so we're gonna assume it gets an evolution here. Bug types, we know Grubbin, Charjabug, and Vikavolt. Cutiefly, of course. Wimpod getting an evolution, which I think is going to be really, really cool, because I think Wimpod has a lot of potential when it evolves, if I'm being honest here. I know it's kind of cheesy, and it runs away after it loses half its health, but I really see a lot of potential there, and I'm excited that there's 4 more bug Pokemon. I love it. I really hope that this list is true, because that already gives me, you know, Grubbin, Cutiefly, Wimpod, and 4 more. That could be 2 more evolution lines at the worst case scenario. Couple forms, 0 to 2 forms. That could mean that there's some Alola Pokemon, some Alola forms for Gen 1 Pokemon, or maybe something else. So that's already better than Gen 6, man, where we only got Vivian. Steel, Togedemaru, Solgaleo, Magearna, potentially 4 more as well. So that'll be very interesting to see. Electric. Looks like Electric is a little thin here too. We got Charjabug and Vikavolt, Togedemaru, Oricorio, the Pom-Pom version, Tapu Koko, and then 3 more with some potential forms. So there's at least 1 form, 1 to 3 forms coming through there. Psychic type, Bruxish, Oricorio, Oranguru, Solgaleo, and Lunala, plus 4 more Psychic types. So very, very interesting to note there. And here's some of the cool stuff. Drampa again, Turtonator, and Jangmo-O, Pseudo Dragon. Looks like it's gonna have 3 stages, guys. So that is looking pretty awesome as well. So you might get your kind of Bagon, or your kind of like, you know, Haxorus Axew kind of vibe, or obviously, you know, you got your Flygon vibe, the 3-stage dragon. Looks like Jangmo-O is headed right down that that path as well, as per the Chinese, or I'm sorry, as per the Riddler here. Very, very interesting stuff, guys. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy to me. All these leaks, I love talking about Sun and Moon. We're so close, guys. We're about a week away from the demo. There's a new reveal coming in just a few days. Koro is likely to leak anytime now. It could leak probably tonight. I'm guessing it'll probably leak tonight, most likely covering middle evolutions and type null. I think that's going to be the biggest next piece of information we're getting is about type null and type null secret. I have a feeling that they're not going to release much more than that prior to the release of the Sun and Moon. You know, we basically have two more issues of Koro. One of them is going to be focused around type null. The other one might be final evolutions as starters. We've already got our middle evolutions, so we could be headed towards final evolutions as starters. Kind of hard to guess right now, but I don't think we're gonna get too much information anymore. But as you can see from this list, I calculated 198 total on the low end of the forms and 242 on the high end, but that's factoring in different forms as well. So keep that in mind, and it's also factoring in duplicates, right? So like Oricorio counts as 4, but it actually is counting as 8 technically because it was factored in as both flying and it's different types as well, fire and ghost, whatever else. So that number 198 to 242, that number, it really, you kind of have to siphon it way down, and when you do siphon it way down to probably around that, you know, 120-ish mark, I think it makes a lot more sense to what this Alola Dex could potentially look like and what the different Pokemon could evolve into. So what are your thoughts on this list, guys? Is there anything that stands out to you that seems a little bit crazy? Do you think that these is just, you know, just pretty obvious stuff, or are you surprised to see? Like, I'm gonna be honest, like some of these Pokemon, I guess I was a little surprised about. I felt like some Pokemon like Turtonator and Passimian and Oranguru, those Pokemon I felt like could have kind of stood on their own, but very, very interesting to note that some of these Pokemon does look like they will get evolutions. Some of them, of course, like I said, do seem a little bit more obvious, like Bone Sweet and stuff, but you know, very interesting to note that it might only have 1 evolution instead of 2 or whatever it may be. So anyway, let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts are. Are you guys hyped for Sun and Moon? I most certainly am. Definitely subscribe if you're new, hit that like button if you haven't done so yet, and that is gonna be that for me, guys. My name is Dan, I'll go by A-Drop, and I'm gonna catch you guys later. Peace.